Hi, my name is Inara. I am a student recruiter and a first-year advisor here at the University of Prince Edward Island. In this video, I will be taking you through our undergraduate application process. If you're applying for our graduate or postgraduate programs, please make sure to check out our other video on the graduate and postgraduate application process. Let's begin. The first step would be to visit apply.upei.ca, or you could go to the Apply section on the UPEI website. Click on How to Apply or click on the Apply button itself. It will take you through our application page. As noted here, the first step would be to create a UPEI account. If you do not already have an existing application account with us, let's create one together. So we will click on Create a UPEI account. It will lead you directly to the application portal. You can log in here now if you have your credentials already with us. If you do not, let's create one. So in the Create Account process, the first step is to put in your first name. And then you'll put in your last name. You will then put in your email address. Now comes the fun part. This is where you pick your program that you're applying for. If you're applying for a bachelor's degree, a certificate program, a diploma program, you will then pick your program. Please note that our Doctor of Veterinary Medicine program's application process is a little different. So in this video, we will be covering our general programs' application process. So we will select undergraduate and we will select the program. I will pick a Bachelor's of Arts, major in history. And then you will then pick your interested term. So I will pick 2024 fall semester and just input a password now. Done. Let's go and create the account. So once you create the account, you will then be led into your application account. If you note here, you can see all the application deadlines. You can see an option to apply online. You can see all our events that our recruitment team does. But we will ignore all of that for now, and we'll click on Create a New Application. Now, this is the important part. Since you're applying for an undergraduate program, we will click on Start a New Undergraduate Application. And then you will just make sure that you're picking the right area of interest and the right entry term. This will be based on what we picked while creating your application. Click on Next. This is your actual application. You will notice that there are 7 different sections on the application itself, and we will now go through them individually. Just make sure your first name and last name are picked up correctly from when you created the account. If you have a middle name, this is your time to put it in. If you have a different birth name on your documentation, you can input that right now as well. Recheck your email address. If you have a preferred name, you can input that. Make sure your phone number and cell phone are correct. Make sure your address is correct. And if this is not your current address, you can then input it in this section as well. We will then go to Save and Continue. It will lead you to the next section of your application. Under the demographics section, you can then focus on each aspect, but make sure that the sections that have an asterisk against them are required and have to be filled. If you have a social insurance number in Canada, this is your time to input it, and this is important for domestic students, so make sure that you add this to your application. If you want to put in your gender, this is optional. You can either leave it blank or put it a gender if you would like. For international students, please make sure to remember that if you're a student that has not yet arrived in Canada and you will be coming to study at UPEI, then your immigration status in Canada would say no student authorization at this time. And then you can click on your current country of residence. I will just pick a random one for now, and your country of permanent residence. You can also choose to self-identify as a Canadian Aboriginal person if you are a if you have a status or a non-status First Nation, or this is completely voluntary, and self-identifying with consent means that we may use this information on services and scholarships for Aboriginal students. Again, this is completely dependent on you and it is not required. You can declare if you would wish. Let's save and continue. This is the third section, and this talks about your plans at UPEI. You will just check which program you're applying for and make sure that these are correct. Again, the red asterisk sections are important. You're applying for an undergraduate program. Your admit type is also important. So if you're coming directly from high school, you will pick direct from high school. If you are returning to UPEI after a few years, you can pick returning. If you're transferring from another institution, you will click on transfer. And if you're applying for an undergraduate program after having different other credentials, then you will pick undergraduate. I think Alpha is coming directly from high school, so I will pick direct from high school. And then if you wish to enroll in UPEI as a full-time student, you will pick full-time here. I've already picked my program when I was applying, so that will remain the same. And then the second program of interest is a program that you would have as your second choice. So I think I will pick a major in English. I will recheck my entry term. This section is important. If you wish to live on campus and have interest in on-campus housing, you can click on yes. If you don't, you can click on no. We will save and continue and move to the next section. This is the Accommodations and Accessibility section. If you're a person with a disability or require any physical or academic accommodation here at UPEI, you can click on yes. If not, you can click on no. We're committed to providing an accessible learning environment for all of our students and an equitable opportunity to access education, training, and service for all our students. If you have any of these accessibilities or any accommodations that you were using previously with your institutions, please feel free to declare them here and we will be happy to provide assistance for the same. And then we will save and continue and move to the next section. This is an important section in your application because this talks about your entire academic history. Please make sure to remember that you have to declare all information that is relevant to your application, which also includes all programs that you may have completed, attended, or done for any period of time. Now, since we are returning from high school or directly coming from high school, we will fill out this section. So you could either look up the name of your institution. So I will try to search the name of the high school. And I see that Alpha's high school is mentioned, so I will just click on it. If your high school does not show up, it's completely okay, and you can mention the details in the unlisted school name and address section. Now, since the high school's already picked, I will just go ahead and select the country, select the province, and select the city. Again, if you have not noticed your school in this section, all of the information will be under the unlisted section. Then you can provide the school details from the years that you attended. If you have any other high school or college or university or institutions that you had attended, you can click on at the high school and put in the information. Since we do not have any, we will click on cancel. If English was not the language of instruction throughout your education, then you will click on no because English is not your mother tongue. This is important for our international students. But if it was, then you will click on yes. We will save and continue on. This is our family section. So if you reside with your parents or a legal guardian, or if you're an independent student, then you will pick respectively. We clicked on save and continue and came to our next section. This is the certification section. Now, please make sure that you read all of these details carefully before making your choice. For your electronic signature, you can just put in your name, Today's date would automatically show up. You can read all this information about our application fee. Please note that our application portal does not accept debit cards, which also include Visa debit or MasterCard debit. The only acceptable method of payment would be through a credit card, or if not, you could pay using Convera Pay. And when you pay using Convera Pay, someone from our team will reach out to you with a promotional code. I will explain to you in just a little bit on how to access that, but you just understand that all this information will be protected and your privacy will be protected. If you agree with all this, if you're paying through Convera Pay, you can click on this link and understand the instructions. Once you've understood, let's submit the application. Once you've clicked on Submit, it will lead you to the payment page. If you made a payment through Convera Pay and received a promotional code, you will then type it here in this section and click on Apply. If not, you could click on Make Online Payment, and once it will lead you to the payment page where you could start the payment, input all your information, and make sure that the payment is done. Once your payment is done and your application has been submitted, you will then be able to access the supplemental item section on your application, which you were unable to access while we were submitting all your information. Now, supplemental items are different for different programs and different applications, and they are dependent on the information that you have provided on your application. Please note that applications are not completed or submitted until the submit button is clicked, the application fee is paid, and all the supplemental items are received on the application. Please note that we require official transcripts to be able to review your application. In order for a transcript to be considered official, it has to be received directly from your previous institution that was mentioned on your application. Additionally, for undergraduate applicants, you may receive a conditional acceptance without your final transcripts. So that is why we encourage you to apply as early as you can when our applications open. The deadlines are flexible and are different for different intakes. The application status, the documentation status, and other information about your application can be checked by revisiting your account on the application portal. Like you see here, it just says started because we hadn't made the payment yet. Once you make the payment, it will say submitted, and once all your supplemental items are completed, it will say completed. If you have any additional questions or require assistance with your application, please do not hesitate to reach out to us at apply@upei.ca. Or if you are an international student and have any queries about your application, please reach out to us at inti@upei.ca. If you are an international student that has submitted an application via an agent, please make sure to reach out to your agent for assistance on your application. If you had submitted an application on your own but are now requiring assistance through an agent, make sure that you submit an agent consent form with your application and you get assistance with your agent as well. I hope this helps and do not hesitate to reach out. Thank you for watching. Bye-bye.